Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 episode review. This one's going to be for Season 4, Episode 12, The Evil of Dregg. And yeah, this was a good episode actually. I knew there was only a few episodes left in space, and I don't think this, I suppose, inherently led us to believe that there's only like one more episode left in space, but it was really interesting because it showed something that I think the show doesn't do all that often, and that is that when you bring back characters and those characters are actually meaningful to our main cast, you can actually do really interesting things. And so the return of Mona Lisa, Commander Zal to a lesser extent, probably Dregg's best episode, and return of Armagon. It it was a pretty packed episode in terms of referencing a lot of stuff set up in this space arc, and so this is definitely one of those episodes where the whole space arc kind of felt like it was coming together a little bit. I still overall don't think it's like the most amazing arc, but this one helped to kind of connect the dots a little bit. I think they were a little bit kind of vague at times about explaining the exact situation of Mona's betrayal. In that, okay, she comes in, calls them, needs their help. It's very vague about the details of like, oh, the commander was captured, I got away somehow, and I was suspicious even before April mentioned that she was suspicious. So it did a decent job at showing you that there was more up here than just being an honest call for help. So when the betrayal happened, I was expecting it, but I was wondering kind of like, okay, is Mona working for Dregg on purpose, or is it blackmail? And that's where I think the episode kind of, until the very end, kind of I felt like it didn't do the best job at getting that across. In that there was constant mentions of like, you have our homeworld, like your fleet are hovering over our homeworld waiting to strike, and that's the reason why she's doing what she's doing. But I felt like they just should have had a very just direct line of dialogue where some character called out the fact that, oh, you are being blackmailed because Dregg is holding your homeworld over you, rather than kind of figuring it out from the other dialogue. But in general, it worked because the impact of that betrayal, even though I think Raphael knew that she hadn't like 100% like turned on him, just that she's trying to help her own planet, but she's had to kind of give up the turtles to do that. I think Raph understood it wasn't just a flat out betrayal, but it hurt him so much that he lost the will to fight. And this is one of, I think, the few episodes that is kind of not the most plot focused, but is having some sort of an issue with the turtles where I think that issue actually means something. Like the previous episode with the whole Donnie not feeling as smart was very weak in terms of it being like the main kind of character plot for the episode. This actually felt quite strong because Mona and Raphael's relationship was reasonably well set up. The two care for each other. He really likes her, she really likes him, and so this betrayal actually meant something. Now, obviously, other shows could have done this like a bit better, where it hit a lot harder and stuff like that. But for this show, this was actually a pretty well done kind of betrayal, emotional moment for the character. That Raph had numerous chances to kind of fight back, but he was just so broken up about the whole Mona betrayal that he couldn't bring himself to fight. And it's only towards the very end of the episode where she's trying to make amends for what's going on, and like she and her commander are willing to kind of sacrifice themselves to let the turtles get away and somewhat make amends, because the turtles are their kind of trusted comrades and allies, and they've just betrayed them for themselves, and they're trying to make amends. And Mona just says back, I'll always love you." And this is the first time that's been said between the two of them. And admittedly, it's been like 2-3 episodes prior to this where they've been together, and for the most part they've treated their relationship as a little bit kind of like comedic in terms of how it came together, and them constantly kissing all the time. Little jokes in this episode about Armagon intercepting their like love mail and stuff like that. But it is a set up relationship that is like better developed than, say, April Donnie, April Casey, which they've been hinting at for like the entire run of the show and just haven't done anything with. Um, while I'm on that, nice little moment with Donnie and uh, getting stung in the face, and then him figuring out the whole the cure to the bug venom could be turned into a bug spray to easily take out Dregg's insects. That was a pretty clever moment. And then, obviously, when Donnie's face is back to normal, April kissing him on the cheek. Now, they continue to heavily, tease Donnie still likes April. She obviously, they haven't, really this season, they haven't focused, at all on, any romance stuff with April. Maybe they'll bring it back at some point, but it's just very weird that it's been set up since the first episode and they still haven't done anything with it. Whereas I think a lot of the other kind of setup romances have been done a lot better, like Karai and Leo, and then Mona and Raph in this episode. But the fighting episode, and then obviously Raph being very emotionally hit by her saying that she loves him, that's what inspires him to fight again. That I suppose that was the moment where he fully realized where it hurt her to betray him, and it was just that she felt like potentially giving away the turtles was the right move to make, given that her whole planet was at risk. And then the fight that happens after that is interesting because Mona gets stabbed, and they're setting up that she might die, it might be this big sacrifice, but I don't think I ever really thought that they were going to kill off Mona. So it wasn't at all surprised when we immediately cut back to her waking up and everything being fine. No real problem with that. It's just okay, they wanted to have a little bit of drama here, give something even more for Raph to fight for, that he was powered up by Mona revealing that she loves him, in addition to wanting to finish the fight quickly to save her from her injuries. And yeah, the fight was actually pretty well done. You got to see a lot of action, solo action from Raph. He took on Dregg, revealing that Dregg is in part robot. And I don't know if we were meant to take anything away from this, because beyond visual focus on the whole robot head thing, nothing was really drawn attention to with regards to Dregg and why he's part robot, and anything really in more detail about who he is, what he is. So that was a kind of weird moment for me. It was okay, cool, Raph taking out Dregg here, doesn't fully defeat him, but it's a victory in this battle. But yeah, just weird that they just kind of revealed that he's kind of a jelly-like insect person built around somewhat of a kind of robot framework, and no one was shocked and was Dregg's part robot or anything like that. So maybe I think they may try and do some sort of connection between the Fugitoid and Dregg at some point, maybe. Just because it seems similar technology, just in terms of the kind of white grey, kind of clean metal type stuff. But again, I'm not really sure. Now, that's more or less the whole episode. We end with obviously Raph and Mona making up, going into Kiss. I want to know, I suppose, going forward, are those two with the turtles from here on out? In the next episode, are Mona and Commander Sal going to be with the turtles? I think that would work if the next episode, which would be the midway point of the season, is going to have a lot of our characters come back together, big battle over the last piece of the black hole generator, leading us back to Earth, and potentially catching up with the I suppose the event that would be the Triceraton invasion of Earth, using the black hole generator to destroy the planet. That's what I'm kind of wondering, but I'm not too sure. It's always up in the air with this show if it's gonna really go for the hard continuity. Okay, we end this episode with those two on board the turtle ship, but will they be there next week? Not fully sure. But yeah, overall, solid, very solid episode. definitely one of the best this season. In that, like, I felt the characters were actually quite good in this episode, whereas they've been relatively weak in a lot of the other episodes. Um, Dregg felt a little bit more threatening as a villain, became a little bit more interesting. Armagon, I think, continues to be relatively weak as a villain. Really not a fan of him at all. Okay, the team up made sense in that I think Dregg hired Armagon in the first place, but not my favorite villain. Absolutely, I'm still very much looking forward to getting back to Earth and seeing how they resolve the whole will Earth be blown up and the whole time travel stuff that they've just done here, but also getting back to a lot of those characters, Karai and dealing with her. I think that's probably the most important one. Like I'm really interested to see that, like, without the Triceraton invasion, the threat of the planet being destroyed potentially over, where do they go with Karai, Splinter, Shredder, and so on, and what are they setting up for, like, a potential season 5 and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot more positive on the episode this week, so that's good. But yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode. But other than that, that's been the review. Thanks for watching, and bye.